But well, I will go ahead and get started because I know that this is essentially your dinner time after this, and I want to be sure you guys are able to get to dinner. So you may see if they start bringing chairs in, great. We'll just keep on going because we have a lot to cover. A couple things first before we get started. If you are a student, please make sure that you have a green folder. You will need that tomorrow at advising. And all the information in it is great. If you're a parent, you're welcome to copy, make photocopies, make yourself a binder of it, but we would, just so that we don't waste the folders, that we only have so many per student, that we make sure that the parents, you copy those on your own at home. If you're a parent here representing a student and your student's at a different session, please feel free to take one for them. If you are a pre-nursing student and you are pre-nursing and that's all you want in the world is to be nursing, you are welcome to stay, but I don't know that we will have that much to tell you because you're already nursing. You're in. Our job is to help you get into med school, dental school, vet school, PT, OT, PA, optometry, naturopathic, chiropractic, podiatry, athletic training, or audiology. I can't help you because you're already in. Congratulations, but you may not want to stay. If you are considering nursing and one of those other ones I mentioned, then you may want to stay because you may want to hear what it's going to take to complete a bachelor's degree and then get in. Unlike nursing where you're doing that at the bachelor's degree level. The last thing is also, unfortunately on Monday, I don't know if you all know, but we are in the middle of a tropical storm. And so the university closed on Monday, so all of your fellow peers who were here for orientation Monday night did not get to see this session. And so I am recording it for them and streaming it live, and it will go on our YouTube channel. So if you just couldn't get enough of me tonight, you can rewatch it when you get home too, if you want to, but it will go to them. That means if you walk in front of this camera, you will be on camera. And if you ask a question, which I encourage you to do at the end, they will hear it. That's awesome, and that should encourage you to ask questions because they probably have the same questions. But just so you know and you are aware. Without any further ado, I'll get started. My name is Lauren Albaum, and I'm one of 2 full-time health professions advisors here at USF. We do have a variety of what we call health professions certified advisors. These are individuals who advise for a degree, so a major, but they also have gone through our certification program. So they come and go on our e-scheduler, which is the system with which you students will make appointments. But they help to supplement what Dr. Melvin James and I do because there are 2 of us and there are 6,500 of you, meaning pre-health students. So luckily we love what we do, but they are really helpful for us. So today we're going to cover all of this in 20-ish minutes. But it will be the quick version. Students, if you continue with pre-health and you still want that after you hear me talk about it today, you will be encouraged, required, we may say, to see Dr. James and I or a health professions advisor every semester. We'll also have new pre-health student workshops. We'll go over this in more detail and a myriad of other things. But we're going to talk about our office. We're going to do a little quick myth versus fact game. We'll talk about what is competitive and what a pre-health timeline looks like, as well as majors and a typical schedule, because you will be getting a schedule tomorrow, or you will be getting a complete schedule tomorrow. Most of you already have a partial schedule at this point. So our office, as I mentioned, is essentially myself and Dr. Melvin James, as well as the certified advisors that we have. We are located in the library on the 2nd floor. If you go there now, you won't see it yet because it's just an empty room with desks. It will soon have our name on the front. But by the time you get here, we will be over there. We'll talk about what it means to be competitive. What are the different health professions? How do you become competitive personally? What is good for you may not be good for you. Everyone has their own path. When's the best time to apply? And we also do a bunch of other appointment types like personal statement reviews, application reviews, all things that may happen later on in your journey. These are the careers that we currently advise for. We do not at this time advise for nursing because if you are nursing, you're already in. I can't help you with your personal statement, and I can't tell you when's the best time to apply and talk about the prerequisites you need and what it means to be competitive, because you're already in. So again, if you're already pre-nursing, that's why we don't currently advise for that office. But there is a nursing overview tomorrow, which is what you would go to. Again, because it's a declaration, it's a major, you would just go to them. If you are hearing this and saying, but wait, I'm not pre-nursing, but I want to be, you still can do that. You just need to talk to your OTL as soon as possible, and they can make sure that you attend that session tomorrow. And they'll make sure that you get to it and that you get all the information you need to be pre-nursing. If you're already pre-nursing and you just want to hear this and you're going to go to the session tomorrow, great, you're on the right track. I do want to make a note though. I have a lot of students who come and say, but I want to go to med school, but I still want to go through the bachelor's of nursing. You can be any major, and we'll talk about this. But you're going to become a nurse. You are a nurse, like you will be a nurse, and then you'll have to start over. Nothing for the nursing degree will overlap with the requirements for medical school, dental school, vet school. I shouldn't say nothing, 1 or 2 classes will overlap. So you will do an entire degree and become a profession, have to walk away from said job that you will have, because we need nurses, to then go back to school and probably do another 2 to 3 years. You can do that, but it's not necessarily recommended. If you're going to be nursing, it's because you want to be a nurse, right? That's not to say you couldn't be a nurse and then one day change your mind, but intentionally choosing that path will elongate how long it takes you to get to the end result substantially, by 2 to 3 years generally, because there's not much overlap between the two, and there's not a way for me to incorporate the coursework into nursing. It is stagnant. And then the other thing I get is, well, I'll work as a nurse while I go back and try to get to med school. Usually doesn't work either, because you need to be taking a full-time course load to show enough rigor to medical schools. So you wouldn't have the opportunity necessarily, again, there's varying shades of gray, but generally you wouldn't have the opportunity to work and then also do enough rigor in course loads to then be competitive for med school, dental school, vet school. So again, if that's you, we can talk about it further, but generally speaking, if you're doing pre-nursing, it's because you want to be a nurse, or your intention right now is to be a nurse. It's also extremely, extremely competitive, so if you are doing that, just make sure that you are really, really, really focusing on grades, especially in the prereqs. And there is a contact number for them on there too. Here at USF, this is going to be completely different, but probably if all you walk away with today is this slide, then I'm happy. I'm not happy, I hope you get more than that, but something will have been learned. When you come here, you will have 2 advisors. You are doing 2 different things. You are trying to graduate, and you are trying to get in to med school, dental school, vet school, PTOT, whatever the one is you're trying to go to. Those are not the same thing. You could graduate and be nowhere close to competitive. You can be really competitive and nowhere close to graduation. Those are 2 different end goals. My office, Dr. James and I, we will focus on helping you be competitive and prepared for your intended application date. Your academic advisor is going to help you graduate with the degree that you've selected. You're also adults, so we can't force you really to do anything other than not harm another person on this campus. So you have to come see me. I will email you. You probably already got a bunch of emails from me, but I will email you till I'm blue in the face, but I can't make you come into my office. So you will want to come and see a health professions advisor and an academic advisor every semester to make sure that you successfully and in a timely fashion do both goals that I hope all of you have in this room, to get in and to graduate. All right, so get your phones out. You won't necessarily hear that a lot in classrooms, but we're going to play a little quick game. It's going to go quick. So, all righty. So you are going to go to kahoot.it. If anyone doesn't have internet or anything, don't worry. No one's getting graded. You don't have to play. But if you want to play, don't use your data. Your mom and dad are going to be mad or something. But you enter in the game pin. You can put whatever you want. Please don't put anything vulgar. And we'll give it a couple seconds. And once we have a good number of people in, we'll play. It's 300235. All right, it looks like there's a little bit of a lull. If you're not in, play along anyway. Oh. All right, we're starting. Are you ready? Myth or fact? It is best to major in a science degree. You're going to click the button on your phone if you think it's a myth or if it's a fact. You have the timer is counting down. It is best to major in a science degree if you want to pursue a health profession. So 20 people said myth and 38 said fact. That is false. That is a myth. The keyword there was best. It is not best to be a science major. It's efficient to be a science major. There will be a lot of overlap between the prerequisites you need and the courses that you have to complete for your degree, but that does not make it best in the slightest. If you love science and you're good at science and you feel strong in science, then that's probably best for you. But if you are interested in something else, that's probably what's going to be best for you. Most degrees here on campus, short of engineering, maybe some of the fine arts, even business is a little hard, short of those, I can probably weave in the sciences you need to be competitive in the elective space you have in your degree. They are not looking for science majors. They do not prefer science majors. And nowadays, especially where we are moving towards a competency-based admissions process, they are looking for students who have much more than science competency. The American Medical Society, the AMC has now indicated 15 competencies that they want for entering medical school students. 2 of them are science. The other 13 are everything from cultural competence to ethical responsibility, communication skills. The MCAT is not a science exam anymore. It is half science, half non. Meaning, 1/4 of the MCAT is psychology and sociology, and another 1/4 is any topic that they want to pick within humanities and social sciences. There is no best option to being science. Science tells them what? That you're analytical, that you're scientific minded, that you'll probably do very well in the first 2 years of their program. But it does not tell them that you will be a great healthcare provider or that you understand your patients, right? They're looking for so much more than that now. So what is best is going to be a conversation that is largely dictated to what it is that you're interested in, what your strengths are, what your ultimate end goal is, what credits you're bringing in, if any. But best is by no means science, although it will be efficient. But I will tell all of my science students, especially my biomed students, great, that's very efficient. So how are you going to compete with the non-science majors? And usually they say, what? And I say, yeah, how are you going to compete with them? Because they're now doing almost the same number of science as you are in their elective space. And they also have a built-in additional set of competencies that they're bringing to the table. There's double majors, and nowadays we're getting really, really tricky with things like excess credit or surcharge and all these other things. It was more of a rhetorical question, but right, and that's why everyone's path is different. But that's why I would say, right, science is great and science is efficient, and there's nothing wrong with being science. But if you are science, don't fall into the trap of thinking, great, I did the science degree, so I'm good. Right? All right. If you retake a course, they'll only consider the second attempt. Well, a lot of people call this grade forgiveness, right? So it's like if you take a course and like you don't do well and you take again, they'll be like, oh, good, look at this other attempt. Yeah, it's a myth. The only schools that will accept grade forgiveness are DO, which is a Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, and Optometry School. Everyone else is going to take every attempt of every course. And even DO and Optometry, they're still going to see every attempt of every course. So it's not like whiteout where it goes away. A great GPA and exam score, so like you get a really great GPA and a really great MCAT is all you need to get admission. To gain admission. It is definitely a myth. This is by no means to any offense of any healthcare professionals in the room, but about 10 years ago, the answer to that would have been sure. Right? That was fine. You showed that you could make it through, that you were intelligent, that you could withstand the rigor of those courses. But nowadays, they have to know not only that you can do it, but that you should do it. And so when they're looking at your application, they're not just looking at your GPA and your test score. They're looking at what else do you bring to the table that will indicate that you will be a great provider of care, that you will dignify the profession, that you will be someone who other people want to communicate with. So by no means will that happen. I will tell one story. There was all the health professions advisor in the state get together and we play. It's okay, don't worry, I'm not done. We were reviewing kind of not fake applicants, they were real applications, but they were old of who got in from the year before with like information redacted. And we were like, it was the game we play to see kind of who got in, and we kind of try to guess if they got in first, and then we talk to admissions counselors, and they tell us if they got in and why. Right? It's really fun. And there was a student with a like 379 biomedical engineering from a semi-Ivy League institution with a 42 on the MCAT. Now the MCAT's changed their scale, but that was 42 out of 45. Keep in mind that the average score to get in then was a 31. 200 hours of shadowing at their dad's practice. Accepted them. No, they did get in, right? But those are amazing stats. But only one school accepted them, or would have accepted them in this game, because they only shadowed at their father's practice. They didn't actually show that they really were interested in medicine. There was no passion, there was no understanding. There was, I had the opportunity, so it was there and I took it. Right? And they didn't have any other community service, no other extracurriculars, no other competencies in that application. Food for thought. Freshman grades don't matter. It's okay, you can mess up first year. No worries. Yeah, they do matter, but I will tell you, right? Because if you come crying in my office, that's okay. That happens a lot sometimes. But If something happens the first semester or year, it's not over. Okay? It's okay. This is a whole new ballpark. This is a new game. Yes, it matters. But if you become overwhelmed by the world of first year in college, which does happen, hopefully to no one in this room, but it does. It does not mean it's over. They will look at trends. There is time to increase your GPA, but yes, you don't, I tell students, right, you would much rather be on top of the mountain and just try not to fall off than have to climb the whole thing again. Right? It's a lot harder to just stay up there. Or it's a lot easier to just stay up there. Last one, you apply a year in advance of when you want to start. So if you want to go to med school or dental school, whatever it is, in fall of 2019, you would have to apply in summer, fall of 2018. Yeah, it's true. Not only that, you have to be competitive a year in advance of when you want to start. So if you want to start in fall of 2019, your entire application must be competitive by summer of 2018. They will not consider any information after you click submit. So even though you still may take another year of courses to graduate, those courses won't help you in the admissions process. This is why this being here, starting from day one with our office is so important. Right? What if I because it's only one thing, right? So look, this is it. This is what makes you competitive. Right, okay. But in reality, there's a lot of good information on here. But again, this is what you'll come to our new pre-health workshop to talk about. But not just the GPA overall in science and the entrance exam, and not just completing the prereqs, but completing them in a rigorous fashion. The healthcare experience, the additional co-curricular activities, this community service is becoming more and more important. I've been having a lot of students this last cycle who did everything else but didn't really get any community service, and they're getting some negative answers that they don't want to hear. Right? This idea of humanism, empathy, kind of helping society is getting more and more important if you're saying you want to be a professional that does that. Those GPAs aren't weighted. Right? I know some of you are like 6.0, 7.0. I don't know what they can even get to nowadays. But there's no such thing as a weighted GPA in college. So to get a 3.7, you know what that means you have to get? Straight A's. Doesn't mean if you don't get an A in every single course, it's over. But that means on average, you are getting straight A's in rigorous courses while volunteering and shadowing and getting community service and preparing for the entrance exam year out. Okay. In your folder, there is a list of common prereqs. Don't all frantically look for it now. It won't go away. It's in there. It's common prereqs, meaning every school makes up their own. So you will have to eventually start verifying that those prereqs are the ones that you actually need for the programs you want to apply to. But we do go off of the most common prereqs nationally. We do not work for USF Health because not all of our students want to only go to USF Health. So we look at the most common prereqs nationally. Right, this one should be easy. Somebody yell it out. What is the best major? There is an NA, yes. So there is no best major. They're looking for well-rounded applicants. They are looking for strong academic performance. Don't fool yourself into walking out of here and saying, she said, I don't have to do science. No, you just don't have to be a science major. You do have to do a lot of science, and you have to do it well. But we can build that into almost every major if you start with our office from the beginning. And I guess I should say if you aren't coming in with like 89 credits or something, right? That might be hard too. Just quickly, some pros and cons. If you're a science major, many of the prereqs are built in. You don't have to necessarily worry about doing rigorous semesters or doing the prerequisites. This idea of excess credit hour surcharge, I know, is a big one, and we do try to be cognizant of that in our office and graduating on time. But again, it may not allow for you to be as well-rounded of an applicant. You might not be as diverse. So there's a lot of concerns about that. If you're a non-science major, it's almost the opposite, right? You might have to work a little bit harder to build in the prerequisites. But you might be more unique and stand out. You might also be doing something that you enjoy more. right? You might have a built-in backup potentially. But there's always the concern of what if it does lead you to excess credit hour surcharge, or what if it does delay your graduation? Again, if you start with us in the beginning, it is less likely that you will get any extra excess credit hour surcharge or delays. But again, if you pick engineering, even from day one, I'm gonna tell you that we can't do that. And we can't do all engineering and all pre-health together in 4 years. I mean, we're gonna have to be a double major then. When you guys register tomorrow, keep in mind we will encourage you to bring your schedule to a full-time pre-health schedule, which is 14 to 16 credits with 8 to 11 of science, or science and math, excuse me. Math, we do kind of lump into that science. We don't recommend you do more than 9 credits of science and math your first semester. Your academic advisors probably shouldn't really let you do that anyway. You're probably already pre-registered for some science and math courses because those are the first to go, right? And so we want to make sure you at least get a seat in them. And just don't forget, you want to start getting your healthcare experiences now, right? You may have, if you don't know a doctor in town, or you don't know a dentist, or you don't know a podiatrist, or you don't know whoever it is you want to be, you may have to cold call 30, 40 places to ask them if you can just come observe, right? Great. You get to reiterate 10, 20, 30, 40 times who you are, why you're doing it, right? What a great opportunity. And it's going to show me that you're motivated and you actually want to do this. If you have a parent or a family member, or you go to a doctor in town, start with them though, right? Use the resources, but you want to start that now. You don't want to come to me junior year and say, I never got any shadowing or healthcare experience. Because I'm going to say, great, you're probably going to graduate in a year, but you're probably going to need much longer before you apply because you didn't start your pre-health journey, right? So start doing that now. Unfortunately, they will not consider anything from high school. So if you've got a lot of really great experiences in high school, awesome. You have a really great foundation, and maybe you already know how to interact with healthcare professionals, but you're going to have to get all new experiences for when you apply now. Just so you can kind of see a typical schedule look like something like this, right? So you want, this is, I know I said 14 to 16, but there are some times the first semester that people will be in 13. Very rare though, but it is possible. So for example, this would be like Gen Chem 1 in lab with pre-calc trig, intro to humanities and cultural anthropology would be 14 credits. All right, this is just a visual, which is also in your folders, to kind of help clarify why you're applying a year in advance, right? So if you're here and you're doing 1, 2, 3 years, and then you're applying, you then have a 4th year where you finish out your degree. You probably have interviews at that time for health profession programs. You're probably filling out secondary applications, and that would be for a start here. Remember, anything done, if you apply this summer, anything that you complete, any activities, any healthcare experiences, any courses that you complete in that fall and spring aren't able to be considered. You already applied. But you also don't want to wait to apply because it's rolling admissions. A lot of schools by the end of summer already have given out half of their seats. So that's in there. After registration, just some gentle reminders, review all that information in your folders, begin getting those experiences, meet with all your advisors, protect your GPA. We do have appointments. If you go to our website, which I hope you do, everything in that folder is on it, as well as how to make an appointment with us. Tons of different information. Good advising, that drops down to further information, as does involvement in activities. And there is a QR code with a survey in there. We would love if you could do that. I know this is the really, really quick version of everything, but fortunately we only have 30 minutes. So please go ahead and do that. And please bring your folder to the afternoon advising session tomorrow.